Welcome to the 180 podcast with Braith and Reni and the UniBet specialist, Aaron Macy. Plenty to talk about, boys.
I can't call you that, can I?
What did you call me?
Nah, we'll leave it. It's
No, if you want to
off
say
camera.
Explain it.
Bissell? Nah, no.
Calls me Bissell or Apple. Apple Bissell. Yeah. The Greeks would know what that means.
The Greeks would know what that means.
It's not very nice. Well, some people enjoy it. But anyway.
How was your weekend? You get up to anything
What did I do on the weekend?
Any birthdays?
No, I was very quiet on the weekend. What did I do?
Any birthdays?
That's right. Yeah, I popped in. Actually, I took my mum. It was a birthday and Mother's Day, and I was working Sunday, so I took her for lunch, and then I went to Andrew Webster's 50th, which Buzz spoke about in the last episode.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Fun. Yeah, it was good. Webb was a
nice
champion.
at Icebergs there on the top floor, looking over the water.
It wasn't where I thought it was.
That's usually a bit of your stomping ground, isn't it?
Icebergs.
Icebergs?
Yeah, I've been there with you about 38 times, so don't throw.
It wasn't at Icebergs. Huh? It wasn't at Icebergs.
It was at our Icebergs, but you'd probably call it, reserve grade. Downstairs. Still nice down
was
there.
it not up the top?
No.
What?
So I walked into Icebergs and I'm thinking, how good's this?
Furious.
Top level, it was buzzing, pumping. There's not a bad view there. The water, of course. And then I'm like, yeah, where's Webby's 50th? And they said, oh, sorry, it's downstairs.
Yeah, he was fuming.
Okay.
He rang me.
Fuming?
He was blowing up. He was had to hang with the
exaggerate.
plebs on the second floor.
That's a lie.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's a lie. But no, it was fun. There's some good sorts down there. Buzz was there.
Buzzy boy.
David Gallup.
I like Gallup. He's not
champion.
He's a good bloke. I surf with him.
Chimes, huh?
Yeah.
He's a mad frother. He's always in the water.
How's he go?
Oh, he's all right.
Is he natural or
He can
goofy?
stand up. I can't remember
Do you
now.
like the offshore winds getting into the barrel?
Mate, he's a
left to
proper
right?
frother.
Right
He
to
surfs
left?
more than
Is he
me.
a bra boy or?
He's going to get his. We're
Is
getting
he
him
one of
scarred
these
up.
when you
We're
see
getting him
him, or
scarred
it's a
up.
high five?
We're getting him scarred up.
Any update?
You know what? Let's give the boys a rap actually down at Maroubra with
Yes.
the row. They rode 50 Ks
Yeah, each
for
team,
charity, raising 130
130 grand.
130K.
Yeah, well done, Fish,
Yeah.
Mark Fisher, and all the rest of the boys. I think Toddy
Chaps and all that were down
Chaps,
there. Mark Davies.
Daniel Livingston, Livo, all those
Livo.
boys. Yeah, they raised a lot of money. So well done.
That was awesome. That was amazing.
That was Kids for Cancer.
I rode about 500 metres out of the
I
50K.
heard you. I didn't even make an appearance.
Where were you?
How was your since?
Actually, where were you?
I was at Guildford.
Oh, you were. How was the crowd at Guildford? Actually,
Mate, there was about 3 teeth in the whole place.
That's not
how was your speech? Were they taken by?
Yeah, they were enthralled. They were just edge of their seat, kind of.
The three people there fell asleep.
I love the message we got in the group. Just in his speech at Guildford, don't think anyone knew what was there.
Oh, you have to get an Uber there, eh?
$94 there and back.
That's not too bad.
94 each. Yeah, so that was $200.
Was that your appearance fee gone?
I owed money.
You had to pay for your beers too.
I did.
That's a good business decision. You made,
And I have
actually.
to apologise to my mother.
Why?
I didn't do anything with her on Sunday.
You're a
And she
disgrace.
wasn't happy about it. Well, I said, let's do something Friday, okay?
Yeah.
And no, I'm not doing anything Friday. I said, Mum, listen, Sunday's a shit show.
I know how to get her out of it.
Let's just go Friday. Let's go have a nice lunch. I looked at Olympus. I thought, table for 2, me and Linny. No, not going. Sunday morning rolls around.
Yeah.
I decided to sleep in a little bit.
Why was that?
I was just tired.
From what?
Sobriety.
From
it's
Guildford.
tough.
From Guildford.
From being off the drink again.
Guildford Hotel was...
What'd you do after the Guildford Hotel?
I went to Maroubra Bay Hotel and I was home by 10:30, Braith.
Oh, please.
AM.
If I could have a bet, UniBet special of the week, if Reni and Mace got home at 10:30 p.m. from the Maroubra Bay.
10:30, mate.
I'll make a confession. I had a little bit of a slip up on Saturday. My little Bondi United, I was a little bit late to the warm up.
Hang on, you were late to your coaching kids.
That was but
I'm
we
disgusted.
we did get the first victory of the year and very excited.
Maybe you should turn up late every week and half cut. All right, should we get to the footy?
Yeah,
that was footy actually.
Just
how's your comeback
welfare
looking?
check. How you going with everything, Ren?
really good.
Yeah.
Fly to Gold Coast tomorrow. Straight back into camp again.
So you're going there for training camp?
Training camp.
Last week you went there for Fisher.
I went for Fisher, then I trained.
That was training camp.
So for the next 6 to 8 weeks, Braith, I'll be flying to Gold Coast every Wednesday.
And who will you
night.
be sparring with?
No, I'm going to go train with Fidel,
Fidel,
and then
yeah.
I'll do some sessions with Sonny for
Nice.
his camp. He's in camp up there with Jai Pata's dad. Tap.
Cool.
Benny Roberts is having a fight as well, so I'm going up.
Is there a rumour that you could be on the undercard?
No fighting for me.
You've heard it here first. Reni's going to the training camp for the next 8 weeks.
No.
so-
I'm going into a not into Sonny's training camp. I'm
No,
getting into
no.
training
I mean,
camp.
like, you're off the drink and you're going to training
I'll
camp. for 8
be
weeks.
the only time I'll be in Sydney is for this.
Is there
next 8 weeks.
is there
We're
any
privileged to have you here.
just
for that
in,
one day.
let's just
What would we do without him?
I know.
if you
I have to bring
You
someone
got
off
no
the
one to
bench.
hang out with.
I'll bring Buzzling. Yeah, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, I know.
who if you were to fight anyone, who would you fight?
I don't know.
Is there any podcasters out there, ex-podcasters you'd
Call
fight?
them out and you'll be
Just
on
call
Daily
one.
Mail like I was
I don't
last
know.
time.
Who? I got no beef with anyone.
That's a lie.
Well, I'm sure we can arrange something. I'll just start
Such a
trolling.
good
Start
bloke.
something,
Such
yeah.
a good bloke, Reni. No one
I
dislikes
just
him.
mind my own business, mate.
Yeah, it's very true. All right, Vegas. While we're talking about what we are, announcement today: Bulldogs, Dragons, Newcastle Cowboys
Yeah.
for next year.
KR and
This will be the
Leeds.
biggest one yet.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
reason it'll be the biggest one yet is because it's the Bulldogs and the Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to the other two teams, but Bulldogs and Dragons have got a massive fan base and they also have a massive rivalry and they also hate each other, right? So, and because they're flying the Dogs, half of Bankstown will be there, Belmore. We'll know a million
already
people.
sold it out.
Honestly,
Hey, the
it'll be
Lebanese have got plenty of money, mate.
yeah,
That's
and-
how it's going.
it'll and the Greeks are big
And the
followers
Greeks
of
as
both
well,
the
yeah.
Dragons
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Dogs.
it'll be the biggest crowd yet. I've no doubt about
Yeah.
it. No doubt about it. You gonna go?
Absolutely.
I believe we're going with UniBet.
We are going. Well, I'll be there
Are we?
anyway.
Yes.
Business class?
Business class.
Or we're just checking flights on the way.
I'll
Yes.
see you there. I'll be there already. So
Yeah.
I'll see you there. What are we gonna do over there? Have you got any? You been to Vegas before? You've been.
I have, Braith, and I said I would never go back again.
I've done it last couple of years. I've been to Vegas quite a bit, and we've had some fun over the years with footy teams and all that. And took the kids there once, never again. Not the place to take kids. I learned that pretty quick. But the last few years when I've been there, it's been such a good vibe. You can have your fun, and you can also work. But you're not good at finding balance. But we can work on that. We've got a few months where you know
We can find the balance.
the balance between
Yeah.
you know not come. Well, you know, I don't.
Well, he's
wanna
in
go
training
into it.
If I'm
camp.
going to
so we
Vegas,
can-
I'm going hard.
There we
There
go.
you go. It's already over. It's already over.
Two puffs
It's going
and he's
hard.
gone.
He's going to have two puffs
I'll be
this
lucky
time.
to make the game.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Are they running all the games in one day again?
Yep.
That they
Not
are?
as many, but so the women aren't
Women
playing.
have been dropped.
They're playing the Super League, which is good, and they're playing. So there's 3 games instead of 4. Great decision, and we spoke about that when I come back. Why? And I'm actually excited for Willie Peters, who we know that I'm mates with, and he's doing a great job with Hull. They're playing over there against Leeds. The Pommies over there, and I said it back
They're
when I
great.
came back, were just the atmosphere. It was like being at a Premier League game. Like
Yeah.
they bring it, and it's good for them because they can watch the Super League game and not have to sit through 3 games after, which they did last year.
Yeah.
And they've got 2 Premier, high quality first grade games. So it's good for everyone. And the NRL are doing a good job with all that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's going to be good. Hopefully we all get
Pumped.
over there and
We should do some sort of event over there.
yeah, we'll do an event
Well,
over
You
there.
know, obviously, like
We'll team up.
get Willie Tonga, a few of the ex-Bulldog
Yeah, we'll
boys.
do that.
Maybe sort of do a fan event.
If you're watching, actually, if you're listening,
Yeah.
we'll try and organise an event through UniBet and BTFU, and between me and you and a few others over there, we'll make it pretty special. I think. We can
Yeah,
get-
any
get it sorted.
suggestions and requests, definitely send them through. But I know, UniBet.
Yeah.
We've got UniBet's working on a big plan for
We
that.
might be able to get him some access to the Dogs and even the Fox Sports coverage there, over there, which is pretty special. So we'll just see what we can do. But, we might get a few other dogs, like you said, to come and have a chat, have dinner or whatever it is. But we'll work on that in the next few months now that it's been announced now. Some big stories this week. The game, again, there's a lot going on in our game at the moment. One that we kind of spoke about last week that I think really caught my attention yesterday was the Lachlan Galvin to the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And the reason it's raised its head again is because Galvin hasn't really, it's been quiet since he announced that he wanted to leave and there was all that push from his management. And Parramatta have gone quiet. The word out of there is there's no deal done at all, which we all thought was most likely. Not to say that won't happen, but it's certainly not where everyone thought it was going to be. And then Gus came out and said that he was, a big announcement coming out and sort of talked that up. And then, I started thinking, the Dogs could be working behind the scenes here. And then I sort of tracked back to when Galvin announced that he wanted to leave. The reasons why he wanted to leave, he wanted to be coached by a better coach. He wanted to win a premiership, and it wasn't about the money. I'm thinking, well, okay, that's pointing me towards the Dogs. And then when Gus was asked, I think it was yesterday, about Sexton, he said he's in a development phase.
Very bizarre.
Development phase. Like, he's playing out of his skin. He's been great the last year and a half. They're coming first. He played really good on the weekend. He's not in a development phase. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So that to me looked like a bit of a throw off. Which and if they were happy and believed in him as a long term,
the deal would be done.
The deal would be done.
Yeah, I was watching 360 last night. You guys talk about it, and it does seem like it does have a little bit of legs.
Could he like? We've spoken about it off camera. What would you do with Galvin if you went there? And how would you see more so if you just wanted him? Because I reckon Gus just wants him. He's the biggest fan of Galvin. Galvin's to him. He said, "What did he say? He was the best. He's the best prodigy he's ever seen, pretty much."
Yeah.
So I think Gus has just got. Let's just get him because he's going to be one of the best players. That's his, ever. That's if he's going off what he said in the past. So, do you think he'd fit in there?
It's coming around. Like, I originally said a month ago, no way. He's a 6.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit in. I want to be careful what I say here because I really do like Toby Sexton.
But Sexton's going great.
He's going great.
Firstly,
yeah,
Sexton's going great. And to get something clear too, any doubt we had about them being a premiership threat like a couple of months ago, they can win the comp for sure. I'm sold on that. I think the Dogs can win the comp. I've got actually no doubt about it now.
Yeah, I've seen enough evidence now myself, yeah. So the whole thing, right? So with Toby, something's holding the Dogs back from pulling the trigger and just landing a long-term deal. I think he's managing the game great. I think maybe he's attacking. He might be just half a pace off being that real spark as a halfback. Now, Galvin is great with the ball. He's a great attacking player. He wouldn't be a 13. I've been watching him defensively lately, and there's no way you could slip him into a 13 role at the Dogs yet. But to get him into the system, maybe in 5-6 years' time when his body develops. Now, I thought about putting Galvin at 7, and he fits the Dog style of play. Mm-hmm. They're not playing. They play that systematic style of play. They get to their points for their shape. Get to a point, cage kick. Get to a point, shape. The halfback isn't playing off the cuff or changing anything outside of what they've trained for or developed throughout the week. So that's where I can see the Galvin thing coming back into play. Yeah, he's a 6, but he could fit into a 7 role at the Dogs with their style of play.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
I agree. Like, and you explain it perfectly. Like, they're so systematic, and you've said that for a long time now. Yeah. They're so systematic. You're telling me that Galvin couldn't go in there and do a similar job to Sexton? He's got a really good short kicking game like Sexton does.
Burton's got the long kicking game.
He does, and Burton's got long kicking game. Galvin has more X factor than Sexton. Like, that's no disrespect, but he does.
Definitely.
Galvin has got something special, and you look at, if he simplified his game, he's still got to play the way that he does. He's an instinctive player. He plays what he sees in front of him. He floats around. But if he needed to pull it back just to fit in and be coached and then evolve at a club like Canterbury, who are, I remember I said they'll win a comp within 4 years. I think I said that last year. I remember I sat with Surround and I said they're going to win a comp within 4 years. So they're not going anywhere but up. There's just they've got too high quality of player. Their attitude, their culture. You see how much they love each other. They are. Mate, they love each other. They are brothers, and you can see that by their performances. They're never out of a game. They've got X factor in different positions, like Stephen Crichton. They play to their system, but they've got that. They're that confident, and they got players like Crichton who can, like on the weekend, can create something out of nothing. They don't need their 7 or their 6 to really do that.
You're right. Remember we were a little bit critical a few weeks ago against South when there was a lot of opportunity
And they didn't
to
pull
just break
trigger.
it. Just to tip to the edges.
Yeah.
They didn't deviate from their system against the Raiders. When they're 20 points down, they didn't panic.
No.
They still played the same shape, played through the middle third of the field,
Yep.
and they broke the game open.
They're fast, they're fit, they're enthusiastic, and they're getting better with every game.
Yeah.
They're evolving, and we said the attack had to evolve to get them to that next level, and it is. Like, it really is, and they believe in the process. You know, it's like you talk about other teams at the moment, like the Broncos, that are struggling, and it's like they don't believe in the process. They don't believe in getting to their points and being systematic and being consistent and being relentless, and you know that they're looking for the quick fix or the big play or the and the Dogs aren't. You know that in essence the big play happens and the X factor is created through being relentless and being consistent and sticking to a game plan and trusting the process, trusting their coach. And that's why they've just been so good and they just continue to get better. And that's why the Galvin thing has reared its head. It's alarming to think that they haven't signed Sexton. It's even more of a shock to me that there's no one else interested in Sexton because obviously there isn't. Because if I'm his agent, I'm going, well, boys, you're either re-signing him or I'm taking him. And like from what I hear, there isn't clubs jumping out at him, you know, and he'd want to win a comp and he'd see that this is the place for him, but they still won't sign him.
Well, I think they need to be careful in this situation because I did speak to you off camera about Sexton and could he call their bluff? The Dogs would find out. I just thought there might have been
a bit of a poker face, don't you reckon? What?
You'd have a great poker face.
Yeah.
If they could,
That's right.
we'll leave that off air, right? No, but this is the thing, right? So if you left this situation too long and a club does become interested,
It's like when we were back at school and we giggle. We got the giggles here. Yeah, Toby,
I'll ask a question. If Jerome Luai obviously wasn't at the Tigers and being the big money player that he is, Galvin would be the 7, don't you think?
At the Tigers?
At the Tigers, yes. He would. If it wasn't the big 1-4 comp.
Well, if Jerome's dad executes that clause, then Galvin could be the 7 next year.
Just quickly, come on. Bro, come on. Do not do that. Whether it was a joke or not. Don't do that.
Thanks, Dad.
Also, don't do that, man.
Happy Mother's Day.
I can see the funny side of it. Imagine you get your ass handed to you. You got 64 points.
64-0.
Straight up the anose, and then you puts that out.
I did laugh at poor Benji.
Can you imagine my old man trying to use Instagram?
That's what's happened, I think. And then
couldn't even get a boost juice.
I love it how he came back out and he said his dad said, "Oh, my missus said I can't use this anymore, so I'm back off Instagram." Like it is funny, but like poor Luai would have copped it.
But back to the Sexton situation. Let's get back on track here. Like if they let this drag out for too long and then all of a sudden a club needs a halfback, you backs Dogs into a corner, right? Or
he should be doing that now. But anyway.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. I'm sure he is saying, "Hey, listen." Ringing around and saying they won't sign.
You should be telling him he's got Queen 7, but he's got pocket aces. You know?
I'm going to ask you both. You're both Bulldogs winning players. You're Gus. Who do you sign, Sexton or Galvin? And I'm going to ask you both and why.
I don't know, man.
The fans won't like it. But I
see the evidence. Yeah. See, I know what Braith's going to say.
Okay, well, let's hear you first.
I don't think he's the long-term answer. I don't even like saying it, as honestly, because he's flying at the moment, Toby. He's playing well. He's doing his job. He defends well. He's getting him around the park. But when it's someone like Galvin comes onto the market and you see the X factor in his attack, you got to look at it. You have to look at it. Because you look at Melbourne, look at their spine. Attack, attack, attack everywhere in their spine.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at our spine, all solid, great, solid first graders. Galvin, futurist, he could be an X factor in the future.
What about you do this? Look at it. You keep Sexton and just say, mate, we can only give you 400, right? So, because he's asking for 5, I think. So, mate, stay here, you can win a comp. We'll sign you a 2-year deal at 400. Then you get Galvin and you give him 7 or 8. You'd probably be able to keep both of them. And then you back end Galvin's contract, and Sexton's got 2 years to prove himself, and you end up with both of them there, you know. And then
that'd be ideal.
That was a great politician answer.
And then you got Galvin can play 13,
Eventually.
Even to start off with, or he can play 6 with.
Have you seen him defend? No way.
I'm just saying I think he got Gus and Serrato there, but coaching him, right? So I think he's that type of player where, you could work on certain areas of his game to fit into the system, like wherever it is. You got one of the brightest
There's nothing
ones.
wrong with having competition in key positions, right? It makes them fight harder.
It does.
So that you're right. I like that.
You like that?
I like that theory.
This is how you sell it to Galvin. They've been able to do it, the Dogs, because they bought that kid from the Dragons who everyone was after, who was offered more money. Is he a back rower, I think, or the front rower from the young Dragons? But they got him because he wanted to be a part of the Dogs, and he took less money to go there, right? So they're creating that environment where players want to go for less, players want to stay for less because they can see a premiership there. So and Gus is the best at it. If he convinces Sexton, listen, you might get 100 less, mate, but you can win a comp the next 2 years. And they go to Galvin, you wanted to improve your game, be a better player, and you want to win a competition, take less now, you get more later. He's only young. Back-ended contract, or even more so, if he goes there and they're winning, Galvin will be worth 1.3 or 4 the next contract. You got to look, like when I've got my players, like Jonah's a good example. We took way less to stay in Melbourne to be in a great system, to be a chance of playing behind the best in the game, to learn the most from the best coaches and players around him. So then, he will get a long-term deal, which he's already got, or he's worth more money at the end of it regardless because he's been in that system. And I just think that's, I've just thought about this on the run here, but that's kind of what I'd be doing, and I think that if any club can pull that off right now, it's them.
Yeah.
And then everyone's happy. There's competition and Sexton can get the first crack or whatever they do. And, you've even got the room to move Burton if, Crichton or Sherry get injured, or who knows at fullback there, and pending on how, what's his name? I've just lost his name. I shouldn't. The fullback.
Tracy.
Connor Tracy. If he, there's a million things you could do.
There's a million things, but one thing they definitely don't need is a 13. Bailey Haywoods.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Curran.
Yeah.
Kurt Mann.
It's a good point you make, because a lot of people have been tossing
great
13s.
13s.
Yeah. But as you know, depth wins comms. And when you have those multiple options in the halves, because if one goes down.
I reckon the Dogs want to see what happens at the back end of this year, because we've said it all year. They've got to go to a different level to beat a team like Melbourne. If they can get to that level, then they're probably thinking we don't need to make a play, Galvin. If they fall short and think, we need X factor, we need more creativity, we just need a bit more star power, then they strongly come into calculations with Galvin.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot to play out there. We'll move on from that, but I think we got a lot out of that.
Yeah.
The Broncos, everyone's talking about this boat. And they went to, what was it, Fort Denison? I didn't know that. Did they go to Fort Denison?
I don't know if the Hello Sport boys are taking
Have they milked that or not?
I don't know. It sounds
It was
pretty
funny,
accurate.
though. It was very funny.
Did you ever go to Fort Denison as for a school excursion?
Batshit.
So you can.
It's not exactly
That's
Alcatraz.
why he's lost the players. Imagine.
Oh, have you done Alcatraz?
Yeah,
Alcatraz
was sick. Yeah.
How good is Alcatraz?
Are you jailbirds? Let's go.
No, it is cool. It's cool.
It is very good.
But imagine, I'd be fuming too if I got on the boat and they said we're going to Fort Denison. I could have just chilled in my room before it became its house.
Yeah, but he's trying things, mate.
I know.
Would you be spewing like you go on the harbour?
We did laugh at the cricket play last week.
Yeah.
We laughed.
Sorry, Steve.
A bit of credit there.
Do I get an apology for that, or
why do you get an apology? We were taking the piss out of you.
And
we apologise. We apologise to Tugger.
I was like,
I'll apologise to Tugger, not you.
I'm like, they've got Steve Ward, and you started pissing yourself.
Oh, mate, that really.
Look what happened. Steve Ward, he was walking Latrell through his kicks before with a cricket bat.
Oh my God! It looked like a good swing, didn't it?
But the Broncos, so this whole it's a bit of a shit fight, right? Because Buzz has been from the start, and Gordy and a few other blokes have been critical and didn't think it was the right move to get Madge there, didn't think it was going to be a good fit. And they're kind of been justified a little bit with their form. And any chance anyone gets that wasn't a fan of Madge or the decision is just really jumping on it. And then, and to a degree, they're not wrong either, right? They are struggling. They're playing poor. They should be going heaps better. But does he deserve to be criticised this much, and do the Broncos deserve to be copping the flack as much as they are? And how do you see their situation at the moment?
They deserve to be copping some sort of flack because with that roster, you shouldn't be 5-5 or what is it? Something like that.
5. They're down to 7s now, and they're actually roughies. They are smokies now. They're at the $11.
They still are in the top 8.
Look, it's
Just.
It's going to take a while for Madge to design what sort of roster or culture he wants. He inherited that roster. The thing for Madge now is that he has to identify where the problem is and get rid of it.
He knows the problem.
What's the problem?
We know the soft, but there'd be players driving it.
Of course there is.
Of course.
That's where they get all their mail. So that's another thing. Everyone who sees bars and they're getting it from agents and players. So players are whinging. But they were whinging last year with Kevin.
Identify who those players are, who, regardless of who they are, get rid of them because the problem will not go away.
What if they're the most important ones?
It doesn't matter, Braith.
It's tough. I'm with you. I agree with you.
Do we know who they are or we can't say?
No, we don't know who they are. You just got to sacrifice for the team. If there's 1 or 2 or 3 driving it, give them the tap.
I'll tell you, Madge just walked into a Broncos club that he didn't know it was as bad as it was, you know? That's what's happened. And he's like got to take many steps backwards to go forwards here. But because he's so ruthless and relentless, the tough thing is like, are they going to buy in at all? You know, whereas most teams, like you saw with the Bulldogs went backwards to go forward. Cerrato came in and they were all whinging. They had the wrestling camps where they've gone to court over, like stuff like that where you go, I'm toughen up, will you? That was our opinion.
Yeah.
And look where they are now, you know, because they had to go backwards. We were hammering them on TV going, they've lost their DNA because they were playing horrible because he was implementing new systems. He was training them harder and he was trying to harden them up, right? And he was also trying to implement his ways of defending and attacking. And now look at them. Whereas the Broncos have got to look at the Dogs and go.
But he also changed his roster as well.
He changed his roster.
Big time.
He did. You're right. He brought players in.
Yes.
That's a good point you make. He brought players in who would buy into it. So that's a good point you make. So the Broncos are just, because they got such a great squad, that's amazing. But this is good what you said, because maybe they do need to look for certain players that fit to go in a different direction, because it's been 20 years since they won a premiership. They are the most powerful club in the game. They've got the most money than anyone else in the game. They kind of have the same style over the years, don't they? With type of players they've got and the way that they do play. You know, they've kind of got that passive defense where they use the sideline as a defender. They've always had that. They've always had the Lockyers, the Reece Walshes, the guys that are so like individually talented and like, because they got the pick of the crop up there in Queensland, they get the best of the best. But the Lockyers and all that were different generation, different players to the guys now. The guys now are not consistent. The ones that they've got, they show glimpses of brilliance and superstardom and, you know, rock star kind of stuff, right? And then you see dog shit, you know? And Madge has gone in there to kind of find the middle ground. And this is why they've still got time. And I saw him the other morning and I felt sorry for him. But my big thing when I was watching him on the weekend, and I said it on 360, what stood out to me the most is there was a few instances in the game on play 1 and 2 where they went over the sideline trying to get around and trying to come up with a big play. And everyone who's played at a core, that was our home ground. You don't go near the sidelines there. If you're more than likely to go over from 10 metres even. Like they can drag in. It's really slippery out there. And you just know on the team sheet, it's like stay away. Don't try and go around teams. Go through them. And they did it 3 or 4 times on play 1 or 2 where they just didn't want to build pressure, didn't want to go through the middle when they've got a pack like they've got. And the big one that stood out to me was the Dean Mariner. Amazing try save from Latrell.
Yep.
And everyone was so caught up in that moment, which they should be, because it was probably a match winner.
Yep.
But if you actually peel it back, Mariner makes a break on play. I think it was 1 or 2 max.
It was early in the
time. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And he looks at Latrell, and instead of thinking, I'll try and beat him on the inside, and if I get tackled, you know, it's play 1 or 2, and we're getting a quick play of the ball. We're probably scoring that set. Yeah. He goes for the big play on the outside with less room against one of the best fullbacks in the game, and he didn't really. I mean, he nearly got there, but not really. He was a few metres short, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, a big momentum changer, a big shift, and it just showed to me they're not thinking.
They're not thinking
beyond.
Win ugly.
No.
You know.
They're not thinking. And they did that heaps. It was, and if I'm the coach, he's just sitting there going, this is exactly the way I don't want him to play.
You think in that back line, Reno would be the only one coming through the grades that knew how to win ugly.
Yep.
Yeah.
All those other kids would have been strike players for all their different individual clubs and scored 5 tries and come up with a big play. They just don't know how to manage a game.
They're so individually gifted.
So gifted.
But it's team first.
Team of champions.
It's team first. It's an old adage, yeah.
It's embedded in their psyche that they need to come up with big plays.
Team of champions, not a champion team. You look at the Bulldogs again. I'm only using them because they are the total opposite. You know, like if you like, they are contrasting. And look at them. Look at Canberra at the moment.
Yeah,
as well. Look at Canberra at the moment. Like if you line the squads up, it comes down to attitude, teamwork, and commitment to the process. And it's sort of frustrating to watch. And we'll get to the preview later with that. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But there's a lot of work to be done there for Madge.
I really do hope Madge is able to turn around with this roster. I love Madge and I respect how good that team can be. And that's why everyone's probably a little bit more critical of them because of the absolute fucking talent in that side.
All right, let's talk a bit of Origin before we get to the preview. Everyone's having their Origin debate. Yeah. Everyone's naming their teams. Queensland, I think they're pretty we kind of know where they'll go. I do. I don't know.
So can you roll through it quickly then?
Well, I haven't thought about it too much, but I mean, DCE, they're going to go DCE, Munster, Ponga. You have Dearden at 14. Even though people are tossing shit up, that's what they'll do because Queensland just stick to that sort of thing. What they got, Tino and who else they got in the front row?
9, Harry Grant.
Harry
Grant's come back in action.
Who's the other front row? I've lost. I don't know.
I haven't looked into
it. Gilbert comes back this year as well.
Cotter, you'd have Carrigan.
Gilbert at 13.
Who would you put in the back row? Nanai.
Nanai.
On the left edge. Right edge would be Sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jaden's been okay besides that spill over the try line.
Yeah. Well, let's get to New South Wales. No offence, but
look, I think it's
we're in New South Wales, so
it's pretty obvious what the team's going to be, right? We spoke in the car. Given what Papenhuyzen's doing, I could see him as a potential 14. Given only if you picked Jake, so you started him in the front row, and then when he came onto the bench, you can cover 9. I'd have maybe Paps to cover anyone in the back line, including Turbo. If you look at the last try Cronulla scored on the weekend and Turbo's coming across in cover defence, he did not put his body on the line to try and stop Hero. He looked really, really fucking ginger, right?
He looked it from the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that last play of the game, that last try, if you watch that clip,
I don't believe you.
Yeah, he got in position and he just didn't go there. He's like, look, they've already won the game. I'm pulling out of that. So if they do go with Turbo, I'm nervous that I'd want maybe a Paps on the bench. And given what he's doing, I just
what have you done with, firstly, what have you done with, are you going Tor and Lomax? Are you going Latrell and Crichton? Is that who you got there now?
Yep.
Trell just put his hand up and just said, I'm playing.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm critical of Trell. But then you go big moments and I'm just like,
but you got every right to because it was the first time he really stood up.
And I stand by.
Let's be honest.
I stand by everything I say about Latrell because he's so talented. Yeah, right? And I want the best from him.
And then he just does that. And then literally just puts him on his back.
He picks himself straight away. But that's
him.
I want to see it more often.
Of course, everyone does.
We all do it every week.
Even South fans. Yep. If he'd done that every week, they'd be flying. That's the impact he has. That's why it's frustrating.
I put Latrell in. Him and Jared Hayne are the two most naturally gifted footballers that have ever played our game. Natural ability.
Gino was pretty good,
but he was.
No, you mean skillful all over.
Across the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Speed, footwork, power,
vision,
and
finesse, everything.
Instincts.
Everything. Him and Jared Hayne are the two best to ever play our game.
Yeah.
Just didn't see enough of it here. That's all. I'm going to call it how I see it. Yeah, so I'm putting Latrell in, big game player, whatever. I just think Paps, they did the Kalen experiment. They put him at 13. 10 minutes to go in the first half.
Attacking wise, I think it's brilliant. Like his support play is like that first try he scored on the weekend. Yeah, he was zigzagging.
pulling back.
And even
my God.
mate, pulling
Getting
back,
back behind the
zigzag,
ball.
and then to get to the ball, even get it down the way that he did. He ran around Naden. Naden was on the sleeping tablets, I think, but he ran around him. That's when you knew Melbourne are on and they're asleep.
Yeah.
Because the urgency wasn't there. But Paps, with Paps, but where would you defend him? Are you comfortable defending in the middle?
Put him in the middle. He'd be right.
It's a bit of a risk, though.
It is a risk, but I just think there's enough
But
support
you know
around
what?
him.
Do they need the attack if they're picking Cleary and Moses and they've got Latrell and they've got, do they need that extra point of attack? Are they going? That's why you go with the Robson instead of a Coruscant or anything like that, because Robson's tough, makes his tackles, bends his back, and he also just gives the ball off the deck. Yeah. And that's what you want.
Connor Watson did a good job.
Fantastic job.
And Connor's a runner, right? He'll come in and run out of dummy half. He'll get an offload, which he did for that winning sort of try and Suncorp where he threw it out the back. It wasn't a great pass, but because he's got the ability to sort of get a quick play of the ball or just come up with an offload and be quick. I think the safer option is Connor, and he's the incumbent, so they'll go with him. But I like your idea. Like Paps is just a freak at the moment. Like, and he's so fast.
Yeah.
And he's just such a great support player. But the defense, I don't think they'll pick him though because of defense. Yeah. Like it'd be a risk.
And is Dylan Edwards been picked? In your opinion?
Yeah. They're
you go with the incumbent.
They're picking Edwards.
Yeah.
And I reckon Moses and Cleary getting picked too. Like that's done.
I
reckon I'll stick with To'o and Lomax. The only surprises would be possibly like around the front row.
We forgot to mention Mitch Barnett last week.
I have him in my team.
Yeah. We said King.
Nah.
Josh
King and Barnett. I had Barnett in the team, but
and Payne Haas.
I'd go Barnett. Or King. I'd be able Barnett or King starting front row, and then bench wise, whatever. But
and is Angus Crichton starting?
Yeah. Crichton and Martin. They're Origin players. They're fucking tough, mate. They intimidate the opposition.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know,
Hudson Young off the bench.
I have him on the bench, Hudson. I'd be happy with him, but I'm not. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over the bench. Like, it's important, but you could go with Hudson. Olakuatu, I don't know if he's done well enough to I'd had him as impact and big body and all that, but I don't know if some of the movements on the weekend, I'm like, mate, in Origin you get killed. He's
only
defense.
a right edge back. He's an edge back row. That's it. You couldn't put him in the middle. And if there is injuries around the middle defenders,
so what bench? Let's go with the bench because if we've got the team,
Hudson Young definitely. Yeah. Let's stick with Connor. Hudson Young.
Hudson. Lenu.
Oh, Spencer.
So who's
Spencer's first picked on the bench.
So who's the next one? Who's the last one? Because I had Olakuatu in the team I named last week, but I think he's out of it now after the weekend. I just don't know if I love his size and skill and ability and potential, but you need reliability in Origin. You need reliability. Everyone was talking up May, but I didn't have May in mine, and the weekend didn't help him.
You could potentially go Yo on the bench and Jake at 13.
The Jake thing's come back because Maddie said they have to pick him. That's all it's really shifted.
I actually didn't mind his theory.
No, the theory's fine, but it doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
Like I love Jakey has been nowhere for a long time now. Like I love the loyalty incumbent. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
Suncorp Stadium's a different beast, mate, and you need your fucking elite informed
he
players.
Did it last year. He won up there in the decider.
Yeah, but he hardly played any minutes.
Well, maybe you only need 20 minutes.
In Origin, you're only going in with no one a front row or a player's only giving you that. It doesn't happen often. They got away with it last year. They had a good team. They had Madge. They had everyone else playing really tough and.
Yeah. I have one reservation still, and every interview I watch more, I lose less confidence. Laurie Daly, it's just the way he speaks. Last year, Madge just inspired me with "In Madge We Trust."
He's got bellyache there. Let's just stick with that. He's got bellyache next to him.
Do you feel inspired?
He's tapping again.
He's nervous.
I don't know about Loz. I want to see evidence.
And can we bring Madge in for game 2 like they switch players?
No, listen, Loz he was my hero growing up. He was one of the best Origin players I've ever seen. Yeah. You need to see evidence from Loz. I need to see evidence of a successful coach. I need to see evidence of it, and that's the jury's out. And he's a very Loz is very measured when he talks, but I know behind behind the scenes he fires up and he shows his emotion, but because he's such a media personality, and Loz has always been the guy who just presents so well and knows what to say, when to say it. So when you hear, like Madge didn't care about what he was raw, whereas I feel like when Loz does interviews, it's pre-orchestrated. He's thought about it 1,000 times. He knows how he wants to deliver it, and you can kind of see through it. Whereas Madge, when he was just like, mate, taking on Billy, and that's what the New South Welsh, that's what we love.
He brought the state together.
He did.
It was just basically
the passion.
The New South Wales Coogee Blues.
Yeah.
That's all they were doing. In camp there. He takes them to the Blue Mountains.
Yeah, he changed
the whole state comes together.
And rugby league's working class, mate. So someone like Madge in Origin, all the tradies, the plumbers, all the blokes on the wharf, they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, Madge, let's go. That's really rubby league.
Class.
And then you got
all the Guildford
Hotel. The 3 people at the Guildford Hotel watching Reni there fired up. The Uber driver.
I'm going to pour my own beer there. They don't even have staff.
So let's pick our team then. Quickly. Are we just sticking with what we said?
Yeah, we'll just stick with
that. So Dylan Edwards won.
Edwards, To'o, Lomax, Crichton, Latrell. Then we got Moses, Cleary, Payne, Haas, Robson. Do we go Barnett? Barnett. Then the bench is Lenu, Connor, Hudson Young, and
need another middle.
Do we go King? Josh King?
Yeah, King.
Instead of go King?
Yeah, and
then Olakau'atu, Hudson covers the edge or whatever, and you've got a few middles there, or he can play if he needs to.
He can even cover centre.
So we've got that.
So what you have, Liam, Martin, Angus, Crichton, Isaiah.
I did forget to mention them. They're definites,
You just
they're just definites. I don't even question that. That's not even a.
And then Spence picks himself on the bench.
He's the first pick on the bench.
Yeah.
First pick.
All right, there you have it. They could go. The other changes they could have is put Turbo on a wing instead of one of the wingers. And then he covers a number of positions, and that's probably the only thing you do there. And who knows? They could surprise us all. We don't know. They could surprise us all and go Moses and Luai and put Best in the centres because they're incumbents and they won last year.
I wouldn't be mad about it either.
I wouldn't either, but that could happen. I don't think it will. All right,
we're going in the preview.
Let's get to the preview.
UniBet preview.
Before we go into preview, we'll have a quick look at the market shuffle of what's going on. Yep. Melbourne in the 263. Once again, dry track showed what they can do on a dry track.
Oh, yeah, geez.
Fuck, they're
electric.
electric.
How good were they? That was without Harry Grant.
That's correct. Bulldogs obviously come back. They're now $5. Sharks are in the third favourite at $9.50. Brisbane sinking out to 11. Penrith still sitting there at $14 in the market.
Not bad value.
Yeah, not bad value. Do you think they can be there?
No. Don't know why I said that. I just had a moment.
I just want to know, name me 4 teams that can win the comp.
Bulldogs. Raiders.
Melbourne.
Sharks.
I
don't know. What's with the Sharks?
I don't know, man. Let's wait till preview.
Why can't we be sold on them? Is it because of the temperamental nature of the key players, or
I think they just hate this thing called finals.
They are building well, though. I like
hate
teams.
premierships. I think.
I actually, they
unless Galvin and Anyhausen in there.
I like a team that's building after round 10. These next 10 weeks.
I think we've been harsh on the Sharks. I think the Sharks have been one of the big improvers. The last 2 weeks have been great, and even we get back to the preview.
Yeah, let's just
do the preview. And
we'll do the preview. We kick off Friday night, McDonald Jones Stadium. We have the Knights $1.68, Eels $2.16, Leo Thompson out, Greg Marju out, Zach Lomax is back.
Yeah,
Knights are debuting a Fletcher Hunt on the wing.
Yeah,
and it's
country boy,
and Dane Gaggai's
it's Gags'
300th game, and I love backing teams that have those milestone games.
I watched the first. If you watch the first 20 minutes of Newcastle and Titans last week, I wanted to see what was going on with the whole Kalen. Where are they breaking down around the edges? You got Sharp, KP, you got Best, so they've got Strike. And then I was watching their first few attacking sets, and then the breakdown's coming from the 9. So it's not the 9. It's their middle forwards not giving any deception around the ruck when they're playing their shift plays. The Titans defenders were just getting up and going, Leo Thompson, you're not a threat. Saifidi, you're not a threat because they're not running with any aggression as
Or
decoys.
support.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Push.
I just say you come out at 9, you've got a double drop. They're just sort of dawdling under the 9. Or you're running a block play, they're just dawdling into space.
No intent.
There's no intent. And the Titans defenders were just going, all right, we'll go straight to Kalen. The only time they scored was Dylan Lucas, and it was a one-on-one miss. The defenders were right. And then another one, Albert Kelly turned in. Fletcher Sharp, they kick it inside to Fletcher Sharp, but there was no sort of space created.
Yeah.
Like their middles are just not doing a good enough job with their decoy play.
Mate, Kalen looked so pissed off last week. Like at the end of the game, he's shaking his head walking off the field and in the press conference. And I've said it a few times on here.
Have a look at what's coming around. What's coming around
this
the 9.
This is the thing, Reni. You're spot on. And you got to realise for Kalen to weave his magic and get time and space, he needs that to be better.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. You got one job: go in numbers at the defensive line, have shape, get a quick play of the ball. Kalen's off.
Yep.
You know, but if you're getting dominated by a team like the Titans and you can't even give Kalen good quality ball, well, you got no chance.
Mate, they were just sliding off. The only kid that came on was that Matt Croker, I think his name was.
Yeah,
He ran with good intent into a hole and he scores that try.
But even like you're not going to utilise Best either because you're not getting him the ball at the
Give
right
him
time.
space because what happens before at the play the ball, at the ruck,
Yeah.
create space for them on the edges.
But you're tipping the Newcastle.
I'm going to go Para. No, I'm taking Para. No,
you're going Para.
I really liked what I saw from Para last week against the Dolphins.
And Lomax back too is big.
They're moving the ball really well, so they're getting to the right channel. You know,
Yeah, I like
they're
them
doing
too.
a long pass into shape in transition. It's
Yeah.
giving Fox space.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So they're playing to their strengths. Not enough teams play to their strength. Hey, we've got the second fastest bloke in the competition. Let's get him early ball.
Yeah.
Let's get it to an edge and we'll run around on it. They made some poor last tackle decisions from that 9. What's the kid's name?
Yeah.
He tried to chip and chase. Did you see that?
I said to Rolsey actually because I spoke to him yesterday, and I think they're looking for a 9. Like they want him, but they're looking for a different 9.
Yeah.
One a bit more creative, get out of dummy half, sell a bit quicker.
Yep.
You know, like he's a good player who'll do a job for him.
Riley Smith.
But Riley Smith, is it?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't watch, but I'm not sold on him yet. I want to see more out of him.
Throws a great pass.
Yeah, but he fucks up a lot.
I know. This is my point.
Like he's done some horrific kicks. Like the kicks, and sometimes he runs.
Just trying too
He just
hard.
runs the run and try and score.
Trying too hard. He needs to be
He's
put
trying
in
too
and say,
hard.
mate,
Pick your moments.
you're a provider.
Yeah.
All right?
Good,
Just give me.
look at the play. He's got the players around him. Good service.
Yeah.
And every now and then, mate, the marker's down or there's an opportunity to take it. But and don't fucking kick, mate. You got the best kicker in the comp.
Yeah.
Like fucking.
What are you doing?
Really kicked himself in the head. Like that headgear's covering his fucking eyes. Like,
Yeah, they're playing. They're moving the ball around really well.
It's like you
Para,
had
and I really like what Dylan Walker's doing through the middle.
he had Dom Young's fucking dreadlocks over his.
Can I just say, I love when he breaks down fucking footy.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I watch it.
Yeah, that's when you watch it. I know. He come off the back of Fisher last week. When he's back, watch it.
What
his
day did they
breakdown-
play? It must have been Saturday.
Mate, can I just
Nice.
tell you
Friday.
though?
There you
Friday.
go.
His breakdown, fuck, I love when it's back.
Yeah.
No, well, you won't get it for every game, but I'm just watching closely these.
thanks,
But I
guys.
just like and think go for one of the middle forwards for your anytime try scorers. So Moretti,
This is
a bit of value.
Oh, you've been
Moretti
going AA, haven't you?
off
'Cause you're a
Dylan
new
Walker.
man.
No, he's getting ready for training camp,
Honestly.
remember? Sonny's been into
That's all
him.
you're going to get
You're
from
a
me for the
forward.
rest. Yeah,
Oh, sure.
I can't let
I
you
love-
carry. You can't let
I love
you
this
carry us the whole time.
All right.
Brilliant.
So Randy's
I'm going
tipping the
Para.
Eels off the stick, yeah.
And Moretti anytime try scorer just for a bit of value.
All
All
right.
right, mate.
And what are you
I'm going to
doing?
do a running girl going Para, man. I'll just
There you go. Just pick
I'll
a
go
team.
Newcastle because you're going Para.
Who are you tipping, bro?
I
Fuck
fucking
this
just told
slide
you.
off.
All right.
Oh,
no.
no, is this just the tip in that game?
Yeah, the tipping that game.
Yeah.
You going Para?
I think Para will win.
Yeah.
I'll go Newcastle just because you went Para.
Oh, here we go.
No, everything you just said, spot on. Like Newcastle are a bit up and down, so you don't know what you're going to get with them. But I love what Para are doing, what they're building there, and I can see Rolsey's having his imprint on them, and Moses has definitely changed the way they play. And I think they've done this without Lomax in the team. And Lomax is like an extra forward. He's a great finisher and a
Correct.
great starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Para. I'm not just going to be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going Para.
All right.
Oh,
this is going to be an interesting
this
game,
one's a tough
and I'm very intrigued to hear. We've got Bulldogs $1.37, Roosters $3.05. We've got Lindsay Collins back. Obviously, Salmon's gone. Man the 13. Origin watch, Karaz.
Reni, what are you doing here, mate?
I'm scared. He's agreeing with me.
I'm going. The Dogs to it. But for my UniBet,
Yes.
do you want me to hear it now or you want to
No,
do it?
no, tell us.
Why
Tell
are
us
you
how.
nervous? Just tell us what you're doing.
I'm going to say Roosters with the start.
And why?
This is going to
Are you
be a
going
very
against the
close
Dogs, are
game.
you?
Mate, this is a rivalry.
Disgrace.
I am not going against. I'm going for the Dogs. But for my gambling habits,
You're not a gambler. No. Spit it out.
I'm trying to win the punters some money.
And you're tipping against the Dogs. Okay.
I think with the Roosters with the start. So it's going to be a close game.
Why are you tipping with the start? What is it? What is it that you see from me?
It'll
Why?
be a close game. This rivalry goes back to 2002.
Yeah.
You know, this is a big game.
Is
and
it
they
still
know
a rivalry, though?
It's
not like it used to be.
It's not like
Still
it used to be, but well, for most supporters, it's a rivalry, you know?
Yeah.
Dogs will just play through the middle third of the game, middle third of the field. They'll just stick to their system like we spoke in the previously. They won't deviate too much away from what they need to do. The Roosters, I think they'll have a few trick shots up their sleeve.
Yeah.
I think they'll be kicking to the corner to Nawanga Nitawase. You know, there could be some joy from that sort of part of the field. I just think it's going to be a close game. Yeah. It's a big occasion for both clubs.
Coming off the ball.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the Dogs with Canberra. You know, the Roosters could do what Canberra did. You know, you just know that the Dogs are going to stay in it and they're going to be relentless, right? But the Roosters could put points on them. Like they can score. They're getting better with their attack, and I'm a big fan of Toya, and Savala's kicking games are really good. Sandon probably needs to have one of his better games. Teddy's killing it. I think the Dogs. I'd have to tip the Dogs, but I do agree. I think the Roosters, they're going really good. They're on the upward spiral, and they have a chance of upsetting them. They really do. But I think the Dogs are just, when it matters, and there's still question marks over the Roosters. They've still got a new halves pairing, and they can win, but they need to play their absolute best. And just because of that, I think you know what you're going to get from the Dogs at the moment. But in a close one, I'll go Dogs.
Is it hard coming back, like backing up off a win where you come from behind like that, like such a big effort?
Mate, they're flying that much. I look at the Dogs, and I do now start to sort of put the environment Reni and I were in there in those years when we had so much success. You're just buzzing, and you don't care what the score is because you just think you're going to win. And when you got that mentality and belief, you're dangerous, and that's where they're at. They don't have any doubt. They know no matter what the score is, what part of the game, or even how they turn up, they know that they're going to have a big chance of winning regardless, and that's a scary proposition for any team to play.
All right. If I said to you at the start of this year, you name these two teams this next game, you wouldn't have thought it's going to be such a cracking game. But Dolphins $1.94, Warriors $1.85. Got Fisher Harris back. You got RTS on the extended bench.
Such a hard one.
And then you've got like Origin watch with Barnett and Gilbert.
How good's our competition? Like honestly, you look at the tips and it's a nightmare every week. It's a nightmare. Like it's such a great competition this year. Again, you go, well, how do you tip against the Warriors at the moment? But you know what the Dolphins have in them. Like
they're sitting second.
The glimpses that we've
Warriors are second.
Yeah, Warriors are sitting second. 1 second too.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm going to go the Warriors because I just don't want to tip against them, and I want to give them some support and give them a pat on the back here. Like they go unnoticed a little bit, like because I don't think they've beat any big teams. I don't think have they beaten any of the big teams?
No,
I'm not sure.
I'm just trying to. I don't know, but like. They're under the radar, not here. New Zealand, they're buzzing over there. Like they are, and they're fans of the best.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm going to start. I'm starting to believe more with the Warriors, and I'm gonna back them. And this is a big test for them because they're expected to win, but the Dolphins, mate, they got so much speed, and if they just, I don't know what's going wrong with them, but they're so inconsistent. But when they're on, they're fucking. They are one of the best teams in the comp when they're on.
I'll go Warriors purely because of their confidence in coming second. But I love the Dolphins. So I love what Nicaragua's going under the radar.
He's playing fantastic footy.
So they're trying to. You see what they're trying to play. They're trying to get through their sets, cage kick, build pressure, but their execution's off and they're dropping the ball a bit too much.
Yeah.
They're letting teams back into the competition. When you got Avarillo, you got Herbie Farnworth, you've got the Hammer. You've got so much strike.
They win last week with Dolphins, eh?
Yeah, they beat Parra.
Farnworth scored that
try. He ran around.
It's a hard game to pick up, this one.
It is a hard one.
I'd stay out if
and it's at Redcliffe too, isn't it?
No, it's at Suncorp.
Suncorp, I'm going to go Warriors too.
The Fisher Harris back.
Well, the Warriors play good there at Suncorp Magic Round, so and they got a good fan base up there.
Yeah.
All right,
2
Warriors. Let's go.
2 Warriors.
All right, we go to the Cowboys. $1.68. Sea Eagles 2.14. This is a bit of a weird one. Clifford dropped Purdue to 6.
It was a weird one. Clifford's said last night in the last 6 games they've won 4 and drawn 1, and he got dropped.
And he scored a try too last week.
But apparently this Purdue is a gun. And he is a 5'8".
He's a gun.
And he's been playing out. He's been playing out of position and killing it. So they're probably just going, you know what? Let's just pull the trigger. There's obvious reasons why they're not happy with Clifford. And, we don't break the game down and go through video and do all that. And he's not doing his job, right? Or else he'd still be there.
Yeah.
So there's something there they're not happy with.
Yeah.
And this Purdue, if he nails it, and then you've got, Dearden going to Origin, and then coming back, and by the time he comes back, if Purdue's, he's icing it, then you've got a really good combination, maybe one that we never thought would happen, but could be incredible for them. So I'm okay with that. But listen, I just can't tip Manly at the moment, and this could be an upset too, but I'm just going to go with them because it's up there. The Cowboys, and they nearly beat Penrith, and, I'm just going to lean towards them because really, I don't know what we're going to get from Manly.
Yeah, Manly look so frustrated, and with that frustration, they got bad execution, bad body language at times. If you even they were able to claw their way back into the game, but those 2 tries they scored to get level, it was so clunky. It was like a pass and it went behind DCE for another pass, and Kohler beat 4 defenders. There was no rhythm or cohesion to their attack. They're just getting themselves in position, and then they drop the ball. Well, Kohler drops the ball when he nearly went for his 3rd try. Hedge drop again. Yeah, frustration just through that whole team.
We said it earlier. They got a soft underbelly.
Yeah, they're inconsistent. I think they're just really at a point now where they're completely frustrated, no confidence.
100% fit, mate. Turbo doesn't look. They need Turbo flying, buzzing. DCE.
Is he looking at Bondi or Vaucluse?
Well, the
since he said he's leaving, mate, they've lost 4 out of 5. You can't deny that. Whether you're going to say that's the reason or not, you can't. They were going all right before then.
Definitely.
Yeah,
there's question marks, but they were flying.
Maybe there is issues there. Maybe people are not happy with that.
I don't
decision.
think it's going to take that much to.
You think it's easily fixed, and they could turn like this on. You could turn like this on the weekend.
Yeah, of course. But I'm going to go Cowboys. I really like.
That was I still can't believe that they come back. Penrith 12 in front with 8 minutes to go.
And they were playing terrible. Kohler beat 4 defenders off no shape. He just got the ball. Right? That's how good, individually some of their players are.
Yeah.
But the lead up passes to him was dog shit. He just flat-footed beats. So I don't think they're too far off. But Cowboys.
Next one.
Cowboys. All right. This should be a really good test. Sharks at home, $2.28 against a Storm coming off absolute flyer. Hazelden out. Obviously, good Origin watch. Lero, Grant King.
Yeah, Harry Grant named on the extended, I think.
So he's named on the extended. He has to get through training to see if he's actually going to play.
They want him to get a game before Origin because Origin gets picked on Sunday or Monday. So they'd want him to get a game before then. Not that he wouldn't get picked if he didn't play.
Yeah.
I think if he plays, they just win. If he doesn't, then it's still. Cronulla have played their 2 best games all year, the last 2 weeks, and Nico Hines has had his best 2 performances the last 2 weeks, and it's at Cronulla on a Saturday night. So, as great as Melbourne were, it was against the Tigers team who really from the get-go were not there, and
they beat Wichita.
Yeah, really. Melbourne were fantastic, and Papenhuyzen, Munster and Hughes just had it on a string, and they again showed why. And what I liked about Melbourne was they went in at half time and you could tell that Bellyache said, we're not fucking losing this second half. We're not doing what we've done all year. We're proving a point today. We're keeping them to 0. And you could see him compete till the final whistle to make sure that the Tigers didn't score. That was a real real big moment for them, I think, in context of the year. You can't not tip Melbourne at the moment, but again, I wouldn't be surprised with an upset, because Cronulla are going really good, and no one's really given them the credit they deserve, us included, because it's just because we've seen it so many times over the years, but it's not to say they can't do it. They got the team to do it, and they're going well. But I'll just tip Melbourne in a close one. I don't think it'll be a big win. I think it'll be a close one.
Okay, I'll go with Sharks then. If you think it's going to be a close one, I do like what I'm seeing from the Sharks. I think the key to Sharks' attack is Brayley getting out from 9, and you've got Fanua Blake, you had Hazelton, you had guys pushing into space and giving Nico opportunity, giving him time with the ball. I think their short passing game's great. I think Nico's got confidence. You saw when he put that kick in through for Ronaldo. You saw Turbo on the floor.
Yeah. So he's running it more too, Nico.
He's running it more.
And his passes he's picking his moments. Because he's running, then the space
opens up.
Yeah.
So it's an afterthought, but then it's so much cleaner. Before he was just catching and passing.
Yeah.
And so he's just a different player the last few weeks.
So, I'll go Sharks in a close one.
Yeah.
All right. We go Broncos, $1.32 against the Dragons. So we've got Ezra Mann back. Benny Hunt's obviously out with a hamstring for a long time. And there's the loss of Cashman, who's probably been one of their better players all year.
I just can't tip the Dragons. I think with Ezra coming back, he'll unlock a few of those strike players around him, those centres. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm not sold on the Broncos, obviously, with what's going on with them. But I can't tip the Dragons, so I'm just going to go the Broncos.
Yeah, this is, really, most weeks I'd go Broncos would kill them. But they're so temperamental at the moment. Again, like we if they turn up like they did against the Dogs, it'll be the same result as the Dogs.
You think Ezra makes a big difference for him?
He does, but he's their first game back. So... he'd be fit because you can tell that he'd be so remorseful, and he would have, to repay the club and the players, he would have trained the house down. And I've heard that, and he went really good in Queensland Cup.
Like
he's a gun, right? But still, like I tell you, Cobbo wasn't good last week either. Cobbo, he was so good that
the week before,
then he was ordinary. But if they're anywhere near their best, they'll take care of the Dragons. The Dragons at the moment, I don't know. They're just. I don't even know how to explain it. They get themselves into games, but they just don't look like they can get it done. And I don't know what their identity is. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's a good way.
I don't know.
Identity.
I don't know who's in charge. I don't know, what their game plans are. Pretty simple, but they're really looking for that. That King Tony come up with a couple of good plays, and got really good plays, and he's got X factor. But who's the game manager? Who's kind of getting them to the
stuffed up another.
Yeah, they did. They stuffed it up again, which is the reason why they made a few decisions over the last month. But their game management hasn't improved. Yeah. The kicking game is okay, but they rely so much on Gutho and even Val Holmes, who were like fullback and centre, to sort of be the X factor. That's what they rely on.
And Gutho's not really an X factor player.
Well, but you know what? He's been their most creative.
But that goes to show that he's never been known for being.
But
X-factor.
they can cause upsets too.
They can,
and especially because we don't know.
You tipped him when they did.
Yeah.
At Oakey when they beat Melbourne, did you tip him?
He did.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Faith in Braith.
Only bloke in the comp.
All right, this is a game I think you're pretty keen on. Raiders $1.32. Titans. Big Red's back. Hoskins starting on the edge. Matty Nicholson long-term injury. This is about Foran at 14.
Yeah, Foran named at 14. He might start.
He could start.
I reckon they might start him, and they've just put him at 14. And why would you play him at 14?
Yeah,
Foz,
weird one.
Because Foz is like
he's your director.
You got to get him there.
He's the chief, and also he's not an impact player. Foz isn't, and his body's. He's got a year left, Foz, so he's not going to. Mate. They could just ease him in, but I reckon they'll start him, but. I reckon that'll be a shift before the game. They'll start him with Campbell and have Brimson at fullback.
And that will help them big time because they're just lacking that little bit of direction.
What were the changes you just said then? Brimson back
to fullback,
And
Campbell at 5'8".
Campbell 5'8", and Foz gets to direct him around the park.
That's what I reckon they'll do.
Who's been named in the halves right now?
One sec.
It'd be
could be
Weaver back. Well, he had that bad
Weaver got HIA. Was that last week? Because he won't be back if it was last week. Was it the week
Magic
before?
round, but I think
he'll be back then. 11 days.
Yeah, they've currently got Campbell and Brimson at 7 and 6.
Who's fullback?
The group.
Oh, he's been going all right.
He's been going all right too. Well, the thing is, even some... Oh, no, he won't be replacing any of them. But look, you think Foz is directing around the park, surely.
Yeah, anyway, I just think Raiders are just going too good. I know they got beat by the Dogs, but that first half was pretty crazy. And in Canberra, Ricky upset for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Cat's bum was going off after that game.
I don't know. I don't know. He was pretty calm in the presser, but yeah.
Do we talk about that quickly or not?
Go, yeah.
We got a dog?
I'm happy. I'm fine with it.
You don't have an issue with it?
I don't have an issue with it. Ricky put it.
I
love stick, right? Yeah. And stick.
I don't have an issue with it either. Ricky caught him, Yeah. But what the strange thing is, like it was only like 22-10 or something, wasn't it? Like it wasn't. They hadn't won the game, and he's doing the weak cut of dog. Yeah. Like what if they got pumped?
Yeah.
Like a knob, like.
Well, it came off.
They come off in the end because they won it. It's worked out brilliantly. But if they lost and he's going weak cut of dog and then they lose.
Yeah. Well, you saw everyone's spoken about it. The social media post of that fan going, "Hey Ricky, weak cut of dog." He laughed.
So it would have been. No chin.
I had no issue with it. He even posted on his own Instagram, Jamin Salmon.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So Salmon would have had it in his back pocket.
I love that Lara. Was that Lara's first question? Go, Lars.
Just straight into it.
Just
got in there.
Ask the hard questions.
She just come in big over hand.
Don't avoid it. Don't tippy toe around it. That's,
Go, Lars.
Good work, Lars.
Love that from Lars.
the presser when it came up.
She won't be allowed back in Canberra.
He acted like he didn't know what was going on. He goes, when Lara asked, he goes, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You know exactly what she's talking about."
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you do? Oh, please.
He would have smacked some bottles of red that night.
Oh, he spat everywhere.
Cat's arsehole.
Lara Pitt. What's she doing?
We got a dog.
Is this your faith in Braith?
Yeah, faith in Braith. Canberra to beat Gold Coast 13+.
13+.
Yeah.
Because I got a bit of value. I could have went the 9.5 margin, but I think they'll win easy. So 13+ Canberra.
All right. Last game, Tigers coming off an absolutely walloping. They're $1.89 against South, $1.89.
Oh, wow.
AJ back on the wing. Obviously, you want to see Latrell, Kalamatangi, May.
We go South, don't you? After last week, and with them losing 64-0, this could be the.
You have to.
Really, it could be two things. It could be South turning a corner, and it could be the Tigers turning the wrong corner. You know what I mean? Like it could derail the Tigers, and it could really pick up Latrell. And if it picks Latrell up, it picks South up, and then he would have taken a lot out of that because he hadn't played great this year, and he's had a bit of criticism, and now he's buzzing. Everyone's talking about him, which he loves. Origin's coming up. He'd be bouncing out there against the Tigers team that looked like, geez, they were bad. So I'm going South. Now the more I talk about this, the more I think South could win.
I'm looking at
it's $1. It's $1.89.
Yeah, I'll just tip South. It's 64-0 is a big mountain.
Does Benji bring in like an ex-figure skater to give a speech or something?
Stephen Bradbury.
Stephen Bradbury. There you go. The great come behind.
Letting everyone else fall over.
Wait till they all fall over.
The Stephen Bradbury.
I prefer Ron Burgundy.
Just going purely off last week and what Latrell did and what Tigers dished up, I have to go South.
Actually, are you due for your Ron Burgundy suit again this week?
I wore it last night, actually.
Oh, did you?
You wear that brown suit a lot, don't you?
Yeah, you got an issue with it, mate?
No, it's been brought to my attention by a number of people.
You've got my brown suit pants on now.
All right.
Beautiful, boys. And there it is. Big week of footy, and Reni, you just
go the Dogs.
You tip the Roosters.
I know, but with
you're
the start.
a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Actually,
what does that mean? Actually, so if the Dogs win,
oh my God, he's made the team.
Let's just end it on this, please.
See you next week.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.